Hi, I'm Simon from Deluxe Design and Light Up Kingsford, and today I'm going to show you how to change an in-ground light. In this case it's an in-deck light. This guy's been working for 8 years. I did this garden 8 years ago and it stopped working. So here's the new one. What I love about these lights, as you can see, they're quite deep, and that means the chip is set right back down here. So these are ultra low glare. You can be on the balcony with your mates having a party and it's punching up and illuminating the whole garden without being in your face, unless you're just about standing on top of it. So it's one of my favorites. This is the plastic canister it comes with, which is still set into the deck. This is used to keep the dirt off the body of the fitting so it doesn't perish when it's buried in the ground. If you didn't have the canister, the dirt would hold the moisture and literally you would have to consider the light to be submersible, which is IP68. These are IP65, so they're made to have water on them but not held against the body continuously. They're polarity sensitive, positive and negative. I'm going to strip this back and get rid of these little press fit joins on the cable because I'm going to use solder. I'm going to solder join them. So I'm just going to make a neat pile of my bits. I'm going to rip off the heat shrink that they've got here. Now heat shrink is super important, and I use heat shrink with glue because it creates a submersible joint. And with low voltage cabling, there actually are no regulations. The 240 volt comes to a driver, which is a transformer, and drops the load from 240 down to 12, which makes this an ELV installation, which is extra low voltage and super safe. Even when it's on, you could be playing with the cable, it won't hurt you. Anyway, that's that cable prepared, but getting back to the point, there are no regulations with running low voltage cable into wet environments or gardens. But what happens is the chip will heat up, heat will permeate through the glass, and not instantaneously, but over a year or so, a year and a half, moisture will be drawn up the cable and into the fitting and it will die. Now the reason I haven't used heat shrink on this join in the past is because it's just floating under the deck, it's not buried in the dirt. But for the purpose of this installation, I'm going to use heat shrink so you can see how it should be done, because smart electricians do things that don't bite you in the bum. So that's the old fitting cut off now. So this is heat shrink. It's called thick wall heat shrink with glue. And if you actually look down the tube, you can see the light reflecting off the inside of the wall. It's a little bit rippled, and that shows you it's got glue. I cut a nice 100mm, 110mm piece. I'm going to slip it onto my cables. Now, I'm going to strip these back. Copper inside, it's nice and shiny. No water's got in over time, but it's a little bit stiff, so I'm going to cut it back a bit more. I've got plenty of cables, so it's not an issue. Okay. In this case, this will be the negative for the white cable. There are many colours that you can use, but it's, as I say, it's a low voltage installation, so you can sort of do what you want, really. There's no regulation. If you get the cabling wrong polarity wise, it just won't work. And on this cable, the trace, there's a white stripe, that will be the positive. Again, not always the case, but it's the way I do things, and as I mentioned, I did this garden about 8 years ago. This cable is cold and stiff from age. Came off better. Oh, look at that. Brilliant. Okay, now we can start twisting everything together. So these are my positives. These are my negatives. As a point of interest, active and neutral is in 240 volts. Seeing this low voltage, it's positive and negative. Okay, I'm going to do this one in line. And now I'm just going to solder it with one of my favourite little gas bottles. I love this little gas bottle. It's instantaneous heat, even in the middle of winter, and works super well. And that's it, it's done. Now I'm just going to tape it up and then move to the negative. I'm actually just running my fingers over it to feel if there's any sharp bits that might penetrate the tape, but it feels pretty smooth. One done, one to go. Have to be a little more careful this time so I don't burn the insulation I just put on. So the flame's going to go away from it. I might need to elevate that a little bit. Next one done. Let it cool down for a sec. Nothing sharp. Good to know. By the way, this in-ground in-deck light is 30 watts in warm white and 12 volts. It's one of my favourite lights for lighting massive trees, palm trees, big canopies, anything that you want to have a lot of impact. And we'll include a picture of this garden at night for you so you can see what's what. Now I've got my join, and this is where the heat shrink comes into play. Slide it down. You want to cover all the single insulation and all the tape. That's a nice fit. Now, like the gas bottle, I'm going to turn it from pinpoint flame down to a soft flame. It will shrink around the join, and glue will ooze out either end, making a submersible, weatherproof join that will not allow water up into the fitting. I love watching this stuff shrink down around the cable. It's really cool. Move the flame around so you're not holding it in one spot and burning it, but you're just distributing the heat. Just going to hold those cables together so it can shrink up nicely. Now we'll do the top side. I can see the glue oozing out the ends, so I know it's made a great join and it will all be completely sealed. Okay, that's it. Leave it there to cool down. It's long enough. We can pop that back into the hole, into the casing, and sitting into the original casing that was there. Step on it because it's made to be trodden on. All right, I'm just going to turn it on, see if it works. Yep, it's working. See you guys later.